Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and it educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program and the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, I would think most home sellers want the most money, of course, when they sell their home, but it's a guessing game to figure out what a buyer will pay for a home. So,
Yeah.
how do home sellers get the highest price when they're selling their home and know that it's actually going to sell?
Well, Richard, I think home sellers, and most of them want the most money. Sometimes I ask that question when we start, and sometimes the answer is different than I think. Some people will say, well, I'm not in a hurry, but of course I want the most money. Some will say, I need to sell fast, right? And that's a different conversation. Some will say, I want the best neighbor. So I want somebody good in this house for my neighbors, which is kind of a cute answer. But most home sellers really don't like leaving money on the table. Of course not. They would rather get the most money. But the biggest myth is if you want more money, you ask a higher price. And occasionally that works, but I'd say most of the time it does not, because if you price a home too high, you'll actually reduce the number of buyers who even are interested in seeing your home. You'll get fewer showings, and then your home sits on the market. And then something weird happens. All of a sudden, after 30, 45, even 60 days, buyers are ready to go in for the kill if they have any interest. They're like, oh, it's been on the market a long time. There must be something wrong with it. Therefore, I'm going to make an even lower offer. So, and they wonder what's wrong with it. And unfortunately, it's hard to find like the history of, okay, it accepted a contract, then it blew up and that kind of stuff. Sometimes that will take it and leave it on the market for a long time, and it's hard to tell why. But in general, and these are studies done by the National Association of Realtors. I'm not talking from the word of Barb, but if you overprice a home, then the market's going to tell you right away in the first 2 weeks. If we didn't get that right, you're going to have less interest on showings, right? And then if you slowly walk the price down, according to the National Association, the studies have indicated that you'll actually net less money. And here's what happens during the first 2 weeks. That's when you get most of the buyer interest of your home, because the buyers are looking for new stuff. If they haven't found what they're looking for, anytime something new goes on the market, they're like, oh, look at that one. Let's go see that one. And that's really when the demand is the highest. Now, if you price a home too high, what happens is it kind of triggers buyer resistance. And the way they resist is they just don't come see the house. It causes buyers to kind of wait and see. Oh, I'll see. Sometimes they look for trends to see if you systematically lower the price. So like, oh, I'll wait for it to come down on my price range. It leads to more price reductions. And in the end, you net less money. So you really don't want to do that. And it's a mistake to actually price a home for negotiating room, right? Because yeah, they're going to negotiate, but they may not even give you an opportunity to negotiate if you price it too high. And you really don't want to lose time in this market, because if you lose time, if it sits on the market a long time waiting for the market to catch up to you, which it may not, you're going to lose momentum. And overpricing really is a problem. So if you're only going to, your target is just to get one buyer, but you're in the best position if you market to get multiple buyers interested in the home. That is the way you drive the price up. And sometimes marketing either at market value or slightly below is a way to actually attract more buyers. It creates urgency for the buyers. It leads to multiple offers, which is the best situation for a home seller to be in, because they are in the driver's seat. They can pick the best buyer. And then you can command asking price, sometimes over asking price. So the result of pricing it right is if you're getting, first of all, you're going to get the most eyes, the most buyers looking at it in the first 2 weeks that it's on the market. It creates urgency and momentum. It attracts serious qualified buyers that can buy, and it increases your chance of having multiple offers. And it starts with the first impression. So the first impression is no longer walking in the door. It's how it is presented online. What is the price? And so you want the home to be clean and bright and move-in ready and not need work unless it's underpriced. And then you can get by with some of those deferred maintenance issues. And the way marketing creates demand is presenting the home in the best light, meaning high quality photos. I talk to buyers and sellers all the time about because they're usually shopping in another market, and I'll ask them, have you seen any homes out there that had bad pictures? And without fail, they'll say, yes, I saw a whole bunch of them. I saw one where the bed wasn't made and there's dirty laundry on top of the bed, or the dishes aren't done. It's shocking that people don't care enough to make a house look good online. It's like, don't use that picture if it's not attractive enough. Because what it has this subliminal message that it gives to the buyer, that the home seller doesn't care enough to pick up for their home pictures and to get it on the market. And could be the agent, sometimes could be that. So really what I see the biggest mistake that a home seller makes is, number one, pricing. Or sometimes they might over improve some things that may not necessarily command money. Like some of the typical culprits are like the tankless water heater, which sounds really cool. And maybe over time it would be worth it. I honestly don't know a whole lot about them, but a buyer is not going to pay more for it. Same thing with the solar system in this market. Now that could be different if you live in the desert, but in this market, a solar system is kind of, the buyers are kind of like, that's nice, but that's not going to make them pay more money for it. So you really want to hire an agent that doesn't just stick a home in the MLS and just kind of go away and hope somebody else brings a buyer. We call those post and hope agents. And making any of these mistakes really could cost you a lot of money. And at the end of the day, it's not marketing. Price overcomes all of these issues if it's priced realistically. So if you are thinking of making a move, this is something that we do every week, multiple times a week. We sit down with home sellers, give them a really good idea what the market's doing right now, what their home will sell for in this market. We take a look at sales and competition and give them a pricing strategy to maximize their home sale price. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show. If you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. And we're talking right now about how do you get the highest price when you're selling. And next up, what we're going to cover is a really good marketing strategy that pretty much wins every time. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She should be your voice when it comes to real estate. You can reach her at 719-301-3900. And we're talking, Barb, about how sellers can trade up to a new home. What are some other things that a seller can do if they need to sell a house before they buy their very next one?
Well, in general, we're talking about sort of like some strategies where if you've got this house to sell, you want the most money, but you also need to buy your next home. We have some really, really good 3 or 4 different buy your next home first programs that allow you to move at your own pace and really kind of position your home to look good. Like I just have one client that what they did was they had a plan and they executed. So basically they put stuff in storage of the things that they wanted to take with them, but really didn't look good in the home. So when they finally presented the home to the market, it's just gorgeous. It looked like a model home, but a lot of their stuff that they normally live with had already been taken out. And so having these plans up front that you can just take it step by step and get everything ready to go. First of all, it helps you get ahead of the move. And second of all, your home is going to look very, how should I say? Most sellers say it looks not lived in the way we suggest they put it on the market. But that's what we want. We want the buyer to visualize themselves in the home. But at the end of the day, it's all about making sure you get what I call the 4 P's right. And the biggest P by far is pricing, followed by preparing the home for sale, followed by picking the right agent and making sure it's presented properly. You don't have to show every picture. I'll give you an example. I have one listing that sold very quickly, and the faux painting, are you familiar with that, Richard? That was a big trend in the early 2000s.
It
You know,
was, including sometimes the painting making it look like there was a crack in the wall or something like
yes.
that.
Yeah, I had a listing like that the crack was faux painted. And the feedback we got from the showings was, oh, does this home have structural problems? I'm like, no, that's paint. So I had to Photoshop it out. And anyway, but faux paint is kind of a trend that came and went, just like the grays and just like the white kitchens are finally going away, but builders are still building them. But at the end of the day, when I saw this picture of this room that was faux painted, it just was so vibrant and bright on photos, it wasn't attractive. So I had my virtual assistant tone it down to make it look tolerable. The other option was just to not use the photo. The purpose of photos is to get them in the door. You don't have to show them every nook and cranny in the house. Marketing is to attract the buyers, to get them in there to love the home and then make an offer. So you always want a plan and a backup plan. And one of the things that we help our home sellers do is get the highest price by picking the right strategy. Our backup plan actually is one of our probably 70 cash buyers in our system that will allow the home seller to be in a position to have option B if the market is not getting them what they want. And we actually guarantee the sale of homes. We guarantee price. We guarantee 100% of value, or we'll pay you the difference with a guarantee of multiple cash offers on your home at any time. All you have to do is give us a call at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, you and your team are the only company that I would ever recommend to people out there who are thinking of selling their homes and downsizing to a smaller home. How do they get more information from you, Barb?
Well, probably the best way to get me on the phone is go to barbhasthebuyers.com, and pretty much the call to action on any page is to book a quick call with Barb. That'll show up on my calendar. I will adhere to that, and we will have a conversation and figure out what your plans are and how we can help you, and then take it to the next step. So barbhasthebuyers.com is probably the best resource to get me on the phone, or you could just call me 719-301-3900. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Again, give her a call at 719-301-3900, or it's easy to remember, barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be discussing the biggest mistakes buyers make when they have a house to sell, and we'll talk about how to avoid those, plus our hot new listings. Don't miss that.